No.
Tigers, fight, Tigers, fight. Mike, it's not even a top 1,000 moment all time.
Okay, Tommy, shut the hell up, man.
Mike! Of course, I'm gonna go with the right answer. It's Ryan Eads of the Baltimore Orioles. He's only wore the number 80 for 8 games. He's only one of 2 players.
You know what? No, I'm not going to take this.
Welcome back to Goat Chat. We are back after a very long hiatus. We're hopeful to make this a little more of a frequent thing this summer. Obviously, we don't have Tommy with us again. He's got a super busy summer again. He's going to be back in Cape Cod covering baseball like he did last summer. We'll hope to get him on here sometime soon. But we are back, and we're going to be starting to plug out sports content again. We're going to jump right into it. This is episode 121 of our Goat Chat tenure. And if you guys are new here, we start these episodes now with Goat of the State. If you've been here before, obviously you know that this is our rundown. So we're going to go with Goat of the State, and today is going to be Ohio. We're going Goat of Ohio. Mike, who's the Goat of Ohio?
Listen, in honor of Tommy being gone, I got to go baseball, and I'm going with Joey Votto, former MVP, former Gold Glove winner, 6-time All-Star. He's one of the best Cincinnati Reds of all time, and he's really been a premier first baseman for the past decade. He's been absolutely awesome. Great eye at the plate, has some pop, great in the field. There's no one else better in Ohio than Joey Votto.
I remember he had a streak last year. I think it was like 13 straight games where he hit a home run during the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
Matt and I saw him out there. We were in Los Angeles. We saw him out there playing against the Dodgers. And this guy up here is not too fond of Joey Votto, Matt. Who's your Goat of Ohio?
Joey Votto is so bad right now. Like, I don't know.
Oh, is he on your fantasy baseball team or something?
No, he's not. We were just chirping him. But Goat of Ohio, it's not like I know you guys aren't gonna go with him obviously already, but I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow, and that's for one reason only. He's the only guy out of anyone in Ohio other than the Cleveland Cavaliers team that has gone to the final stage of whatever sport they're in. Joe Burrow, in his second year, after an ACL injury, during, I guess, COVID restrictions in the offseason, took a poverty franchise who last time they won a playoff game was 1986. He went in and he won, what was it? 3 playoff games? Yeah, 3 playoff games, made it to the Super Bowl. He's just, for the most important position on a football team, he really just elevated a franchise that we never thought would make it to the Super Bowl. And even last year, he had some tremendous games in winning the AFC North. I gotta go with Joe. I gotta rock with Joe. I feel like I could stick behind it too. So I gotta go with Burrow.
He's gonna be a great talent in the league for years. I just after a year of really good production, obviously his rookie year he went down with the torn ACL. I actually saw he was practicing without the knee brace in OTAs the other day for the first time in a really long time, which is encouraging to see from a young guy. Just not enough confidence for me after a year of really good production to put him up there for
Super Bowl production.
Super Bowl production, that's fine. But they did lose, and the streaks in the NFL of the Super Bowl losing team, normally they don't have that great year afterwards. Obviously, I'm looking into the future, but just going off of some stats here.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm gonna go with the beast off the edge from the other NFL team. I'm gonna go with Myles Garrett. Drafted in 2017, he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2 All-Pros under his belt. He already has 58.5 sacks in his career. This is a guy that gets double teamed every single time he's on the field. And now he's a part of a Cleveland Browns team who is ready to make that potential leap, to win the AFC North over the Bengals and to potentially get to that Super Bowl. Obviously, all this contingent on Deshaun Watson and his suspension speculations and if he is going to be able to start the season and be there. This Cleveland team is good, and I think Myles Garrett is a huge part of it. Obviously, Baker Mayfield came in the league in 2018, and then they were in the playoffs in 2019, Baker's second year, and a lot of that was due to this Cleveland Browns defense led by Myles Garrett. So I'm going to go with Myles Garrett here. Go to Ohio.
You know what? They're both very talented players, especially I'm a huge fan of Miles Garrett, but they haven't even been in the league for 5 years. Joe Burrow, he's played a year and a half. Miles
He's
Garrett,
done enough. Mike, he's
he has
made it to
not
the
done enough.
Super
Joey
Bowl.
Votto has played 16 years in
And the Reds
Cincinnati.
have done
He has 4
nothing.
seasons with an OPS of over 1,000. He has an MVP, a Gold Glove. Joe Burrow has a Comeback Player of the Year, and that's it. That's it. That's all he has.
Listen, if I want a great player, I want a great player who's going to make it to the final stage, and that's kind of what he did. He took a team with a terrible offensive line, a team that actually drafted first the year prior and drafted him, completed probably the best comeback we've seen since Peyton Manning's first year to second year, and the best transition.
What about Patrick Mahomes against the Houston Texans?
No, not the best comeback in a game. The best comeback from season. So like Peyton Manning's first season to his second season. The best comeback in that, taking a really bad franchise and making them really good. He stepped to the plate right away. And believe me, Ohio, it's not like there's anyone that tremendous. Like there's no one that tremendous for me to not go with him and not have a case for him. I think Joey Votto and Myles Garrett both easily have a case against Joe. I have to go with him because of how his stature and how he carries himself and how he goes to the field and is that big, that important, that great to take a team like the Bengals to the Super Bowl without an offensive line in his second year after an ACL injury.
It's been 1 year though. One single year. And over 16 years of play, Joey Votto has over 330 home runs. He has 146 OPS plus for his whole career. I know he's not playing well this year, but last year in his age 37 season, he had a 136 OPS plus. He's playing out of his mind throughout his whole career. And baseball is a totally different sport compared to football, where you have a lot less control with what's going on. Obviously, Joe Burrow, fantastic accomplishment, leading the Cincinnati Bengals as a team to the Super Bowl. But in totality, you can't take one single year of production from Joe Burrow. And Myles Garrett has been great so far, but just their resume is not long enough. While Joey Votto, you got stacks on stacks on stacks of accomplishments and statistics.
And you know, my final point here, and I'm going to back up Mike here for a second on Joey Votto, is when we went through our go to the number segment for our first 99 episodes. You know, we talked about a lot of the off the field accomplishments and what people did off of the field. Joey Votto is one of the best people pleasers on an MLB field. You know, we always see him talking with fans. He's always giving back. You know, he's giving gloves, he's giving bats, he's interacting with fans at the ball field, and he's giving them that experience that they want. So, you know, while on the field right now, he might be hitting sub 200. He has a great career behind him. He's a very quality first baseman for the Cincinnati Reds for years. Between Joe Burrow and Joey Votto here, I'd have to lean with Votto.
I mean, Burrow's not swinging helmets on Mason Rudolph, though. So.
Oh, here we go with that.
All right.
You know, I had to mention
this was a classic start to our return of Go Chat. Obviously, a little bit of bickering. We're going to get into it. We have so much to cover. We've been gone for so long. We're going to try to just touch a little bit, and we'll be right back with Go Chat.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back. You know, we haven't touched on the NBA playoffs since we haven't done a episode in, I don't know, 2 months or so. So might as well we touch on it now with the conference finals that are going on. We have 2 great matchups. The Miami Heat are going up against the Boston Celtics. The Heat lead 1-0. That game is actually today while we're recording, so might be 1-1, might be 2-0. We don't know. The Warriors Mavs, that game just game 1 finished last night for us, and well, the Warriors actually just handed it down Luka's throats and the Mavericks, so they take a 1-0 lead. Guys, I want to go through these 2 matchups and kind of how we think they're going to go, and we're going to start with the Celtics and the Heat, because let's think. We have a good history with Celtics and Heat. 2 years ago, I mean, it was arguing, and you know, we got a passionate Celtics fan, a passionate Heat fan down here, so I want to hear what you guys have to think about this series. Mike, I'm going to start with you on this. You're going Celtics.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Celtics in this series. I think they're gonna win in 6 or 7 games. It's gonna be a tightly contested matchup, but I just think at the end of the day, the Celtics match up well against the Heat, and I just think they have more individually talented offensive scorers. In terms of defense, they have had the best defense in the league, especially ramped it up in the second half. I know Jimmy Butler just dropped 40 on them, but very uncharacteristic for the Celtics to give up 118 in a game, and especially 40 to an individual player. They didn't give up 40 to KD. They gave up 40 to Kyrie once. Obviously, Giannis got 40, but he's a whole different beast than Jimmy Butler. I think at the end of the day, their defense and their just the way that they're able to hunt down matchups is going to propel them over the top of the Heat, and I think they're going to advance to the conference finals. And I understand how people can see game one to be worrying, but personally, I'm really not worried too much because it was really just that third quarter where the Celtics got blown out by 25. They won every other single quarter by at least 3 points. So I'm sticking with the Celtics in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics, if they win this, they're going to be going back to the finals. Since I'm Mike, you maybe can answer this. I have no idea when the last time. It had to be like 2008, 2009. They've been close a lot of times.
I think it was 09, the last time they played Kobe in the finals.
All right, Connor, we got to hear what you think about this series.
Well, I am going to go with the Heat. I think the Heat are probably going to win in 7. But one thing I will say is I think whoever wins this and goes on to the finals is going to be the NBA champion. I don't think the team in the West are going to be able to beat either of these teams. And Matt, I know you have a huge crush on Luka Doncic and Jordan Poole in Golden State. I know you love their splash trio there, but I just think these two teams are the best teams remaining in the playoffs. And I also think that Jimmy Butler is the best player in this postseason that is still here. He's just played so consistently well. Not overall in terms of his career or anything, but in terms of what's happened this postseason, he's the best player that's been in this postseason. And I look at this Heat team. Tyler Hero hasn't been playing well in the postseason. Kyle Lowry has been hurt for most of the postseason, and Jimmy Butler stepped up. I remember a couple years ago when they were in the bubble in the finals against the Lakers. It was that Game 5 performance that he had against the Lakers, where he put up, I think it was close to 50 points and single-handedly beat that team. Don't count on how many points he had. I don't remember off the top of my head. I remember he had a absolutely fantastic performance, and we're just seeing that again and again. I mean, he is a star on the court, and this is Miami Heat team who a lot of people thought they lacked star talent. They have Bam Adebayo, who's a really good center. Jimmy Butler, he's a really good shooting guard. And Kyle Lowry is a really good facilitator, and he can score the ball. And they've got a really good 6-man in Tyler Hero. But we're seeing that these players can be stars, and they can be very, very good on the court. No discredit to Boston, though. Boston is an absolutely incredible team. And like I said, this is going to go down to 7 games. And as I said to Mike off the air, I have no idea how the series is going to, I'm talking as a Heat fan. Obviously, I'm optimistic that they're going to make the finals, as the 1 seed, but this is the 1 versus the 2 in the East. Both of these teams are absolutely tremendous. They've been playing out of their minds all year. And I truly believe that whatever team wins this series is going to be NBA champions in a few weeks.
Mike, do you have any response, or do you want me to go?
You can go. I'll respond after.
All right, well, for the series, I actually have the Celtics in 6. Game 1, the Heat came out fantastic. They played tremendous, and Jimmy Butler he played great. Jimmy Butler's great. He's definitely not the best player left in the NBA playoffs, but he played great. The reason why I have the Celtics is because Game 1, we saw it without Marcus Smart or Al Horford. Those are two key players, especially defensively. We saw with this Boston Celtics team, they're definitely the best team defensively left, and you saw what they've been able to do with their opponents. KD looked like Jimmer Fredette out there. Like he looked so bad that
don't put any hate on Jimmer Fredette.
Dude, I love Jimmer Fredette.
He was the first beast.
He was the first person that came out of that.
Don't put hate on Jimmer.
All right. Kevin Durant looked like Russell Westbrook. How about that? Kevin Durant looked like Russell Westbrook this year against the Celtics series. That's what the Celtics were able to do. You know, we saw Jason Tatum one-on-one with him. Marcus Smart was still, being a pest around the ball. And then they go to play Giannis, who, I mean, without Chris Middleton, of course, the Bucks were on at a disadvantage, but still, Giannis is the best player in the world, and I understand that now. But they even were pestering Giannis consistently, and that was really the crumble of the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think when the Celtics bring back Marcus Smart, which I'm hoping they do tonight, Al Horford's coming back. They're going to get those defensive pieces in. They're just going to start pestering Jimmy, because if Jimmy is locked down, the Heat are not winning the series. Jimmy Butler is like I'm not going to discredit Bam Adebayo or anyone else on their team, but without Jimmy, they're nothing. So I think if they lock down Jimmy, which I expect them to, that's why I have them in 6. Regardless, I think this can go to 7 because of the star power and the credibility of Eric Spoelstra. But I think defensively, Boston's just gonna grab the Heat and, I don't know, squish them. I don't know what I was going with that.
Squish them.
I don't know what I was going with that analogy. I was like, all right, they're gonna.
Are they a stress toy?
I guess so. I mean, their logo looks like a stress toy. I don't know.
I hate this narrative that Marcus Smart and Al Horford coming back is going to be so big for this Boston Celtics. And I texted you guys this, but the Heat have been without their top facilitator for most of these playoffs, Kyle Lowry. You know, he's averaging 33 minutes a game and 7.5 rebounds. You know, without him being out there on the floor, it's a major loss. You know,
Not
I mean,
really.
it is though, because
okay.
as I mentioned,
Tyler
Tyler
not as
Hero
big
has
as Marcus
not played
Smart, though.
He has not played a good postseason. He has not played well, and they don't have anyone to really be that number one there when Kyle Lowry isn't on the floor. Who are they trusting? They're just good. They go small with PJ Tucker, and I don't even know who they run the point with. I don't know who they've been putting out.
Vincent.
Gabe Vincent. I mean, it has to be Kyle Lowry. I mean, that's a huge narrative as well. I mean, we're talking so much about how Marcus Smart and Al Horford aren't on the court, and I know they're great defensive players, but Kyle Lowry, who averages 7.5 assists and 13 points through 34 minutes, I mean, that's a big loss for this Heat team, and he's not playing again in game 2. But that's just as important as Horford and Smart not on the court.
No, not really. Mike, you want to answer that?
Yeah, no, I disagree. I'm sorry if I'm distracted. There's like a massive bug in my room right now. I'm kind of tweaking out, so I'm just keeping an eye on it, keeping it in check. But no, I don't think Kyle Lowry is as important as Marcus Smart is for the Celtics. He's the defensive player of the year. While Kyle Lowry, yes, he is an important piece to the Miami Heat, but there's no doubt he's taken a step down since his tenure in Toronto. He's only averaging 13 points, 7 rebounds, like you said, a game. And Gabe Vincent was able to replicate that to the fullest. I mean, he scored 17 points, had 2 rebounds and 3 assists as well. He was pretty solid last game. Do I expect him to continue to play like that? No. Do I expect Max Strus and Gabe Vincent to shoot 40% from 3? No. Do I expect Jimmy Butler to drop 40 points on only 19 field goals and go 7 for 18 from the line? No. And we saw last series against the Bucks, the Celtics defense continue to get better and better and better throughout the whole series. By the end of the series, they were clamping down Giannis to the fullest extent.
Mike,
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. The Celtics are just going to keep on getting better and better and better defensively, and they're going to be able to get enough done offensively to put them over top. I personally am taking the Celtics in 6 as well. I'm not going to be surprised if it goes 7, but I think that's ridiculous to compare the loss of Kyle Lowry, in which they've dealt with pretty much all season because he's missed like a lot of time, to Al Horford and Marcus Smart. And one more thing before you guys go back to, before you guys say anything, they did play in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2020. You mentioned Bam. Bam was a killer against the Celtics in that series. You know who the Celtics didn't have in that series? Al Horford. You know who else they didn't have? Robert Williams, who was riding the bench, Grant Williams, who was also riding the bench. They had no one to guard Bam. Now they have 3 different guys who are big, bodied, strong, can rebound, can defend all, one through 5.
All right, we're gonna cut it there, Mike. You got your point moving. Figure out your bug, Matt. Let's switch it over to the Western Conference here while he takes care of this. Dallas Mavs, Golden State Warriors.
This could honestly, like, we could throw this clip to like America's Funniest Videos and put some music over it. But I think the Warriors.
You're a huge Luka guy. You know, obviously Luka. It seemed like he had some bad blood there with Phoenix and Devin Booker. You know, talking a little bit, he was able to knock off that 1 seed there in the West. You know, they lost pretty bad game 1 against the Warriors. Do you think they have a shot in this series?
I wouldn't put it against them, but I don't think they're gonna win. The Golden State Warriors, to me, are the most. I wouldn't say complete team, but I think they have every piece that I want from a championship-winning team. In regards to Luka, the way the Mavs need to win is Luka needs to put up like 40 points a game, 35 points a game, because I don't trust Spencer Dinwiddie. I'll trust Jalen Brunson, but I won't trust Spencer Dinwiddie or Finney Smith outside of Luka. So with the Warriors, they clamped Luka up pretty well. Andrew Wiggins had a great game. Draymond Green is still there, and he's still one of the best players. And Steve Kerr hasn't lost a Western series in the Western Conference, like, just at all. So I think with Steve Kerr's coaching, Steph Curry's shooting, Klay Thompson's finally playing well. Pools took a little drop down since the Nuggets series. I like everything that they got, and I think that they're gonna head into the NBA Finals, and I think they're gonna win it. To be honest,
Mike,
the Warriors.
Yeah. Mike, you get the bug?
I think I got it, dude. I hit it on the light, but like it's like the body didn't splatter there. I think it fell off, but I don't know where it fell off. So like it's still in like the back of my head right now.
All right.
But anyway,
we're focusing on the Western Conference Finals now.
Yeah, I got it. Just to bounce off what Matt was saying, I don't know. I feel like the Warriors have some holes on their roster. I think they have a hole at center. They don't really have any good guards that, you know, are really good defenders. Andrew Wiggins has been really good on the defensive end, but we know that Steph can't really defend. Poole definitely can't. Klay has taken a step back because of his not lingering injuries, but he's just lost some athleticism since he's been injured, and he's not nearly the same defender he once was. And if they match up with the Boston Celtics in the finals, the Warriors love to switch. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they both are going to be attacking Jordan Poole and Steph Curry all series long. And whatever big that Golden State throws out, Kevin Looney, it would probably be barbecue chicken. All right. If as a Celtics fan, I'm much more worried about the Mavs because they're more solid defensively. Everyone's calling, you know, Luka's not a great defender, but he's still strong. He can move his feet a bit. And their system in Dallas, I like a little better defensively than Golden State. But I think it's going to be a good series between Golden State and Dallas. Eventually, I think Golden State will come out victorious. I think Steve Kerr will get a game plan done, but by no means am I counting out Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, I definitely won't count Dallas out, just because I do like Luka a lot. Obviously, you know, I think our man Matt up here has the biggest man crush on Luka I've ever seen.
I'd marry him.
But I just like the Golden State Warriors team so much. You know, Steph Curry is Steph Curry. Klay Thompson is back this year. And Jordan Poole, I mean, they've got that last year. You know, as Matt mentioned, Jordan Poole hasn't been as explosive as he was in that Denver series, but he's still a really valuable option. And Andrew Wiggins is playing good basketball. He was in the All-Star game this year, right? He was an All-Star this year.
Yeah, he was a starter somehow.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing good basketball. So, I mean, this is a good team. Now, Mike, you mentioned the hole at center. They definitely do have a little bit of a gap there. But other than that, I mean, this is a very good team, and it's Steve Kerr as the coach. I'm not going to put anything against Steve Kerr, when it comes to the postseason in the Western Conference Finals. So I definitely think Golden State's going to be the ones to come out of it. And, I said that the team that comes out of the Eastern Conference, I think will win the finals, but I think the Golden State Warriors will give either Miami or Boston a really good matchup.
The thing I love about the Warriors, and Mike, you brought up good arguments. The thing I love about the Warriors is their potential and what we've seen them be able to play. Running that death lineup, I know it hasn't really worked since the Nuggets series. I just think with their potential, I'm taking the highest potential that I think they could play into that NBA Finals game. I think defenders off the bench like Jonathan Kuminga could come play in the game. I already talked about Wiggins and Green. And Kevin Looney actually played a great game last night. I don't know if any of you guys caught it, but he played really well for 28 minutes. So it was Steve Kerr paired up with the winning mentality, I guess so. I think that they have the highest ceiling, in my opinion. A more stable team is a Celtics Heat, but with their highest ceiling, that's kind of where I'm putting them at for the finals. Listen, the Celtics, I love what the Celtics have been able to do this year too. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Celtics move on and win against the Warriors. But the Warriors are just, I feel like they have the highest ceiling out of these last 4 teams.
Is that just because of the star power and like the potential to get hot from Poole, Thompson, and Curry?
Yes, that's exactly like if all 3 of them get hot at once, I think they're unbeatable.
Mm-hmm. I think my one contention of argument, against that is just that I feel like the Celtics have the best of both worlds. We're talking about Miami, being super stable, super solid defensively, but they really don't have that elite scoring ability. They're going to score 80 points once or twice in this series against the Celtics, and everyone who picked the Miami here would be like, "What the heck just happened?" Even though they just have nights like that because they don't have anyone to go to after Jimmy Butler. And then with the Warriors, they have the potential to, go off, but they also have the potential to get blown out by 60 because of some deficiencies in their roster. And it really doesn't happen often in which Steph, Clay, and Poole all are hot at the same time. Steph has been playing great, but he's having his worst season since 2014. Clay is not the Clay Thompson we once knew. Really, the difference here is that Jordan Poole has stepped up, but the Warriors don't have a deep team. You mentioned Kuminga as one of the defenders. He only played 5 minutes last game, and that was just because of, they were blowing the Mavericks out.
They didn't need him in the game.
Okay, fair point. I mean, I guess maybe you could throw him on Luka or something like that, but you probably don't want a rookie on Luka Doncic anyways. But I think when you look at Boston, they have the stability on the defensive end. Ime Udoka has just emerged as one of the best coaches in the NBA this season, in my opinion. I've loved what he's done with this roster, the culture he's instilled on the defensive end. And now on the offensive end, you have 2 stars in Tatum and Brown who are capable of going off for 30, 40 points on any given game. And on top of that, they have the 3-point shooting. We saw with Grant Williams in Game 7 against the Bucks. So I think when you look at, their roster in totality, they're deep. They can play defense and they can shoot. And that's why I'm going to take the Celtics to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue. That's a respectable debate. Respectable points, too. Ever since that, I know he's been talking about this for a while. Ever since they turned it around, it's something different about the Boston Celtics. Yeah. And they got a great addition of Derek White. Who unfortunately,
he's actually going to be out tonight for the birth of his child. He's flying back to Boston. So he's going to be out. So the Celtics really need Marcus Smart tonight, or else we're going to be seeing a lot of Peyton Pritchard and Aaron Nesmith.
2 great series. Any final thoughts? I think that's gonna wrap up NBA talk. Definitely tune in. Two great matchups. Obviously, 2 teams going to the NBA Finals looking for a championship. We are a little over a month into MLB baseball season. And when we get back, we're going to break down some of the first month's winners and losers right after this.
We are back with Go Chat. We got some baseball to talk today. Unfortunately, Tommy's not around. But winners, losers, who's doing well who's not, who's meeting expectations, who's exceeding expectations, who could be doing that for the rest of the season. But a lot of stuff to cover. It's been a fun first month and a half of baseball. So, guys, give me one of your winners this season and give me one of your losers. Connor, I'll toss it to you first.
I'm obviously going to go with the New York Yankees as the winner. You know, they've currently won 9 straight series. They had a 12-game winning streak so far this year. You know, Aaron Judge leads the MLB with, I think, 13 home runs. Stanton's right behind him with 11. And they're getting really good production from people who you might not have thought. So, I mean, Nestor Cortez has a sub-2 ERA. He's been dominating batters. You know, he throws a mid-93, 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and he's just dominating batters, able to get swings and misses. You know, they've had emergence of Anthony Rizzo throughout the first month of the year hitting home runs. You know, his average has dropped quite a bit since. Josh Donaldson is stepping up. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is able to hit the ball for contact. Gleyber Torres is coming around. You know, I mean, this is a team that still hasn't lost 10-plus games yet on the season. You know, they're in a streak right now where they're playing 23 games in 22 days. So we're definitely gonna be testing that resilience there. But at this point in the year, all of the Yankees look healthy, and obviously that's the biggest thing with these Yankees is that Aaron Judge, Stanton, your pitchers need to stay healthy. So if they can all stay healthy, I mean, this is a special team. I think things are really special in New York this year, not just for the Yankees. I think things are also pretty good on that train ride over. But maybe we'll talk about them. For the team that I have as my losers, it's the Texas Rangers. They right now are sitting at, I think, 17 and 19, and they gave out 2 massive contracts this year that didn't work out. First, let's talk with Marcus Semien. His contract was 7 years, $175 million, and he is hitting 173 with a 458 OPS. He has played god awful for the Rangers to start this year. You know, he only has 24 hits and 139 at bats. He has yet to hit a home run. Right now, it looks like it's the worst signing, big splash signing of MLB offseason. And then we got to look at Corey Seager, 10 years, $325 million. He's only hitting 244. His OPS is better with 759, but he's got a 322 on base percentage. You know, this team, they're just not functioning well. They got to get more production from these big splash guys that they went out and signed. We expected the Texas Rangers to be really good in that AL West, and come to think of it, it's actually the Angels and the Astros who are sitting atop there right now. I expected more from this Texas Rangers team, and they're letting me down. So they're my losers so far.
That's 2 very good picks from Connor. Matt, what do you think?
For my winners, I'm gonna have to go with the LA Angels. I mean, they've played phenomenal so far this season, 24 and 16 for a team that really hasn't had the success that, you know, their star power. I guess their star power would lift up with Shohei and Mike Trout. And speaking of Trout, I mean, he's got to be at the top of the AL MVP odds so far with Aaron Judge based on how his year's been going. I mean, last year coming off a year where he only played 36 games because of a pectoral strain. Now he's played 35 games, so basically one more game, and he's tied for last year, and he's got a batting average of 320, and he's hit 11 home runs. And they even had emergence from a guy like Taylor Ward, who has been playing great. Fantasy team. Great acquisition from me. So the Angels have impressed me a lot, especially in the beginning of the year when, you know, they were like New York's at the top of their divisions, and so is LA. They've been very surprising for me, and that's a team that is sticking with me right now. For one that has impressed me so much. In terms of not impressed me, it's just Chicago White Sox. I mean, for a team with odds to make it to the World Series so high in the beginning of the year, I think they were the highest in the AL. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong.
They were one of the highest. I'm not sure if they were the absolute highest.
Okay, well, they were one of the highest, and they came out 6-2, and then in their first 8 games, and then they dropped so many games after that. And right now they sit at a record of 18 and 19, which, you know, that's not totally bad, but for a team like the White Sox, you would think a lot more, and for how they started, you would think a lot more. So they really they shocked me. They've had injuries, but still they're playing awful baseball since since that second 6-2 record, excuse me. So those have to be the two teams for me, surprisings and some disappointments.
One comment there about the Angels is I just hope that they can stay good for long enough for them to get into the postseason. We have never seen postseason Mike Trout. He's never made the postseason. So
I think he did one time.
did I maybe once, but
I think they got swept though.
He has never had a real shot to do anything in the postseason. So if we can see Mike Trout in the postseason next to Shohei Ohtani, I mean, these are two of the most exciting baseball players that you could ever see on the baseball field. And for them to be under the bright lights in October, that's all I could ever hope for.
They got swept in 2014 by the Royals, who I'm pretty sure won that year, correct?
They won the pennant, but they lost to the Cubs in the World Series. In that series against the
No. The Cubs won in 2016 against the at the time Indians.
Yeah. So who the Royals lose to? Because they lost in 2014, but won in 2015.
They lost the World Series to the Giants.
Was it with the Giants?
Really?
That was the stretch where the Giants would win one, lose one, win one.
Yeah. I didn't think it was that late, but in that series against the Royals, Mike Trout only had one hit in 12 at bats for a home run. Not nearly a large enough sample size for one of the best players to ever play the game. Two great picks from you, Matt. I totally agree on both. Those teams are both winners and losers. In terms of my winners and losers, I gotta go with the New York Mets. Come on. The Mets have been awesome this year. Their pitching has been phenomenal, especially their starting pitching. Bullpen has been a little shaky at times, but Edwin Diaz has struck out 50% of the batters he's faced against. So we still got that racehorse at the back of the pen, and their hitting has been really good as well. One of the best hitting teams in all of baseball. This whole team has just been upgraded. You could tell that there's a culture shift since they brought in Buck Showalter. I really have not been able to experience a type of culture shift as a Mets fan that is happening now. There's just a totally different vibe in the clubhouse. There's a totally different just goal in mind, and that goal is to win a World Series, and it seems like the Mets can definitely do that this year. They just need to get healthy. They've still been winning games against really good teams without being healthy. 7-3 against teams over 500, with Scherzer just going on the IL right now, 6 to 8 week oblique strain. That's a huge killer. They're going to need their pitching depth to step up a lot, but so far they have to be my winners. Their free agent signings have really, really paid off. Marte has been great. His bat's starting to wake up. Mark Cannon and Eduardo Escobar have been great on both sides of the dish. And
Eduardo Escobar just had that really bad streak. I think he was like 1 for his last like 36 or something.
Yeah.
And then he had that big double the other day against the Mariners in that game. They almost made that comeback in. So hopefully he gets out of that streak. He was really good last year in Arizona. So hopefully he can get it going there for the Mets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been really one of my favorite acquisitions so far. He did have that cold streak, but the way that he's still able to put the bat to the ball, and he plays really, really good defense.
Yeah, he's a good defense.
Very underrated at the hot corner. He has a strong arm, good glove, and it doesn't look like it because he's an older guy, but he can definitely wheel around the base paths as well. In terms of my loser, it's got to be the Boston Red Sox. I mean, come on, guys. They did make some nice acquisitions in the offseason, brought in Trevor Story as their huge signing, and they're 15-22 right now. It's unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. 9-14 against teams over 500, and they have been a little bit banged up. Obviously, Chris Sale has not played this year, but with their expectations coming into the season, they have totally missed the mark so far, and I think they will improve. Their hitting is going to get better. Their hitting has been absolutely atrocious. Surprisingly, their pitching has been pretty solid, but their hitting has been absolutely awful. Story's going to get better, but so far this season, he has not been playing well. Batting under 250, not hitting for power. Loser is the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, I was definitely going to mention Boston. I have Trevor Story's stats pulled up here. 205 batting average, 25 hits, and about 122 at bats. Just over a 600 OPS.
Yeah, not good at all.
Not good. And Chris Sale has never been able to start opening day for this team in so long. He's such an injury-prone pitcher. I mean, he's almost Jacob DeGrom 2.0 without the absolute excellence of Jacob DeGrom. I don't know if you guys saw it. Nick Pivetta, the pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, had a really good outing last night. 9 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run. He pitched a complete game. They need more of that from their youth. Right now they have Nathan Eovaldi as their number one, and Eovaldi's a good starter, but obviously it's not translating into any wins right now. And this is an AL East who everyone thought they would have 4 teams over 500 and 4 teams really competing for that top spot in their division. And I mean, right now you got the 3 with the Yankees, the Rays, and the Blue Jays. Red Sox got to step it up.
Yeah. It's definitely a disappointing story for the Red Sox.
Oh, that was fun.
I had to put it in there. I was waiting for you to. I was waiting for it.
Didn't think of that one, but I guess this is kind of off topic, but you're tired of the narrative of Marcus Smart and Al Horford, being out, and Kyle Lowry, whatever. I'm tired of the narrative of Jacob DeGrom being injured, being injury prone. Like, don't compare Jacob DeGrom's injuries to Chris Sale, because Chris Sale has been inconsistently injured for the past 3 to 5 years. And it's
Jacob DeGrom though,
season.
Mike.
What?
Jacob DeGrom didn't pitch after the All-Star game last year, and he
am I going to finish
the year this year?
Am I going to finish? We're talking about half a season, which DeGrom was injured, and then he was injured to start this year. I mean, come on, he hasn't been injured his whole career.
Marcus Smart, that's fine. Those players still played a large part of their season. But for Jacob DeGrom to come out and be as dominant as he was last year, to come out and be so dominant, and then after the All-Star break in July, not be able to pitch again the rest of the year, you have all that time off, the entire offseason, you're through a lockout, and then you can't get yourself ready to be starting for opening day, which is a week later than it was already expected to be. Your opening day starter is Chris Bassett, because you can't have Jacob DeGrom ready. He can't get himself ready. And now we're over a month into the year and he's still not ready. And now Max Scherzer goes down and your true number 1 starter now is Chris Bassett. I mean, for us not to have this narrative that he's injury prone is pretty ridiculous when he's now almost 10 months into the last time he pitched in an MLB game and he's not ready to go.
What are you talking about, Connor? It's been half a season and the start of this year. He was ready to go, and then he got injured in spring training. I don't know if you know, but there was a short spring training this year, and DeGrom dealt in spring training. He was hitting 100. So this notion that he wasn't ready to pitch, he came in, was ready to pitch, and then he got injured. It's been the second time he's been injured, in the past 10 months. But don't compare him to Chris Sale, who has had a multitude of injuries, while DeGrom has been healthy for his whole career up until the last half of the last season and the first month of this year. He's not injury prone. He's not injury prone.
I'm just saying, this guy is undoubtedly the best pitcher in the MLB. There's no denying that. But at what point do we have to question that when he can't get on the field? There's no doubt. Okay, he had half the year last year and he got injured in spring training. This was a shortened spring training. Maybe the Mets have managed it a little bit better and made sure he was ready for opening day after coming off a serious injury that kept him out the last half of the season last year and really ruined playoff opportunity for him. Okay, you've got a really good team this year. You've surrounded them with so much talent. You have a comparable manager in Buck Showalter. Make sure your starting pitcher, your ace, the best pitcher in the MLB, is ready to go opening day and actually have a shot at winning a World Series this year.
I feel like it's a little more complicated than you're making it out to seem. It's not like the Mets were not.
It's not really
trying
complicated
to manage
at all. Did we hear
they were
any
managing
other major
DeGrom's
injuries happening
pitching?
through
They were
spring
managing
training?
spring training.
So was every other team. Players were managed a little bit better. Jacob DeGrom has to understand, okay, I missed the last half of last year. I have to be careful with myself in the shortened spring training so that I'm ready to help my team win games. He hasn't pitched an MLB game in 10 months. At this point, I'm calling him injury prone.
That's absolutely ridiculous. You just said he got injured because he was trying to, ramp himself up too much and saying that the Mets were trying to manage him. Listen, opening day is great. Opening day in the first month of the season, yeah, sure, it's important. But when we need Jacob DeGrom is going to be the back half of the season. And I know he wasn't a part of the team last season, okay? He got injured. It happens. But it's ridiculous.
Don't start this "it happens" narrative. We talk about a few months ago about the Yankees injuries and how the Yankees have to expect their injuries and all that stuff, okay? The Yankees are a healthy team this year, and no one's talking about their injuries. But the second now that DeGrom can't get on the mound, it's, injuries happen. We have to understand it, and we have to work towards it. But when the Yankees have injuries or other teams have major injuries, it's, well, you have to build your team better. You have to have better opportunities. If Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton aren't in the field, you still have to win games because you're supposed to be the best team in baseball with the biggest salary cap. Okay? Jacob DeGrom isn't on the field. End of story. And until he's on the field, he's injury prone.
That's so ludicrous. I'm done with this. I don't even know what point you were trying to make. You circled all the way back to the Yankees somehow, and on how, if Judge and Stan missed time, they are still expected to win games. Yeah, no duh, they're still expected to win games. There's going to be some sort of, exception to that. But at this point, the Mets are still winning games. We can still wait for Jacob DeGrom to fully heal. That's why there's no timetable yet for him to fully heal and come back as strong as ever.
I have more points, but we're going.
I don't know what point you made the whole time.
The point is
just the point that he's not in the field, so he's automatically injury prone.
You remember our conversations a while back on this podcast, where when we were talking about the Yankees injuries and how they get injuries every year, and you said that they have to be expected, and this team is always injury prone, and you called Judge injury prone, and we said that this team had to work through their injuries essentially, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if Judge is injury prone, then what is Jacob DeGrom? Jacob DeGrom hasn't pitched in 10 months.
Okay, Judge missed consistent time since his rookie year. After his rookie year, he missed consistent time. Same with Stanton. Since he was traded to the Yankees, he missed consistent time year after year after year. I'm not ready for not even a full year of injuries to call Jacob DeGrom injury prone. I'm not ready to do it. He could be, but I'm not ready to put that stamp down and call Jacob DeGrom injury prone. And to the Yankees' credit and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton's credit, for the past, for this season and last season, they stayed healthy. So credit to them. They could take that tag off now because they've shown that they've been able to stay in the field.
At the end of the day, for me, Jacob DeGrom hasn't pitched on an MLB field in 10 months. And that's it. He's the best pitcher in baseball.
He did pitch in spring training, so it's not like
he's the best pitcher in baseball.
Thrown a baseball.
He's the best pitcher in baseball. He hasn't pitched in a regular season game. Is that better for you, Mike? He hasn't pitched in a regular season game in 10 months. Yes, and that has to be better if we're going to continue to expect him and call him the best pitcher in baseball. Because if he can't stay on the field and he doesn't get on the field this year until after the All-Star break or even August or September you leak into, then it has to be a debate whether he's truly the best pitcher in baseball or not when he's not healthy enough to be on the field. And that's where I'm going to end this.
I'm so confused. I'm just going to say I'm really confused. But, hey, that was like 2 months that everyone was holding it in. We just needed one really good argument to welcome everyone back. Go Chat's back, guys. We are back. The arguments are back. The smiles are back. Any final thoughts? If you guys want to go through your World Series prediction quickly, up to you guys.
Sure. I don't know who I'm going to take out of the AL, but I'll have the Dodgers winning it all. They're just too stacked from top to bottom.
Okay.
Give me Mets Yankees. I would love to dream. It might not happen, but I'd love to see it.
It could. This is the best opportunity they have since 2000 to make that a possibility.
The Dodgers, like you said, though, they are just so unbelievably overpowered. Trey Turner quietly not having a great year so far. So
We'll be fine.
I got the Dodgers winning. I don't even think I have to say an AL team. I think the Dodgers are going to win it. I think it's historically one of the best teams we've seen. Maybe not record-wise, because I thought they'd be off to a better start. But
the Astros are really good. Obviously, the Yankees are really good. And if the Blue Jays are able to get their pitching at least somewhat decent, I think they could contend as long with the Rays. So there's 4 teams in the AL that I think could possibly make it and eventually lose to the Dodgers.
Well, there you go. There's our World Series predictions. I'm sure Tommy, insert Yankees are winning right now, and that'll be Tommy's prediction. So it's a long episode, but guys, we're back. So stick with us. We're gonna go through the GOAT of the week coming up next.
GOAT of the week is back. We are back with GOAT Chat, and we have 3 brand new athletes that are up for contention for GOAT of the week. I have no clue what the score is right now. All I know is that Matt is blowing us out of the water, but that will not continue anymore. Connor, what do you got?
I think I'm behind Matt it's got to be 10, but I'm in second place. I know that.
I'm catching up.
I'm coming. And it's going to start this week with this guy right here, Jimmy Butler. His game 1 performance against the Celtics, 41 points, 9 rebounds. He was the reason why they won that game. I mean, obviously, he put up 41 points. I think he went 17 of 18 from the free throw line. Got to keep it going. Obviously, game 2 is tonight when we're recording. I'm a big Heat fan. Obviously, I'm going to go Jimmy Butler here. I'm going to say that they're going to win again. That's not what I said in our GOAT pick segment that you'll see. I want to see them win, but I think the Celtics will win.
Connor's just talking out of his behind right now. Matt, who do you got?
I didn't even finish.
He's not done. I'll let him.
Oh, you're not done? Sorry.
Jimmy Butler's the GOAT of the week with 41 points. Go ahead, Matt.
Did he actually have 17 free throws? Holy.
Oh,
he had 12. He had 12 for 9. 18. No, 17 for 18. You're right. Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not happening tonight.
He had a quote that said that in game 2 he hopes he goes 0 for 0 so that he can just keep knocking into people and just keep shooting free throws.
Wow. That's insane. 17.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna happen again. Ime's gonna have a game plan. Matt, who's your GOAT of the week?
How do they follow him that much? All right. Well, I guess I got to use the whatever. My GOAT of the week is Aaron Judge. Of course, he's had a great. They should just.
He's the MLB leader in home runs, Mike. You respect him.
They should just rename it Matt Cain's GOAT of the week because I'm just gonna keep running with it. 3 RBIs, 2 home runs.
You don't play it right. You're playing for the fans. You don't pick the guy who you think is the best.
Okay, all right.
You pick the guy who.
Okay, so you don't. So you don't think Aaron Judge should be in this?
I do. I do
too. I just told you he had 3 RBIs on
lies.
He had 3 RBIs on Tuesday, and then he had 4 RBIs last Thursday. Like this, he's been playing great baseball, and I'm here to recognize it. He's having his best year since his MVP caliber year, and in the past week he's
stolen by Jose Altuve, freaking cheater.
Connor's just getting riled up right now, and he's been producing it with these games against the White Sox and the Orioles. So he's my GOAT of the week, and I think, in the bottom of my heart, I think he's deserving to be in this conversation.
You're lying.
Dare you disrespect the MLB leader in home runs, Connor?
Listen, it's no disrespect to Aaron Judge. It's disrespect towards Matt, because I know Matt doesn't actually think Aaron Judge was the best performer this week. He just wants a win, and he knows our viewership is largely Yankee fans. Okay, we're going to vote for him.
All right, I have a feeling you think Luka Doncic would be my GOAT of the week. The thing I didn't pick him because of how bad that game was last night. That's not good. Like, people have recency bias. I know how this works. So I'm playing a little strategically, but I know that Aaron Judge had a good week. I get these notifications and I just think, yuck.
Okay, time for the true GOAT of the week. Probably not going to win because we're picking a hockey player from Canada, but it's Matthew Tkachuk. Matt did win with Matthew Tkachuk, but at one time, but that was hockey player against hockey player. You know, it probably won't turn out well for me, but hear me out. Had a hat trick against the Edmonton Oilers in game 1. Against the Dallas Stars, he had a goal and an assist in a pivotal game 7 overtime win, and also had an assist in game 6. So 6 points over his last 3 games, including a hat trick and one of the pivotal goals against the Dallas Stars in game 7. It's no doubt Matthew Tkachuk. Then you throw in the way he plays defensively. I know the Flames just allowed 6 goals to the Oilers, but outside of that, Tkachuk has been phenomenal defensively, individually. So therefore, he's the goal of the week.
He scored a hat trick on the Oilers are just a mess at goaltender right now.
Listen, they got out of the
They
first
let up
round.
9 goals, Mike.
Well, I mean, look at game 7 against the Kings. Shutout.
Yeah, I know. They're just like wishy-washy on goaltending.
Yes. And you know why they're wishy-washy? Because Matt Tkachuk is that guy. Matt Tkachuk is that guy.
Guys, we are fired up. Goat Chat is back. We're ready to be chugging along with more sports content. Obviously, we're going to hope to get Tommy on here at some point. We know he has a super busy schedule, but we're just here. We're back. We're ready to go. And we're hitting the stride. We're hitting summer. We're ready to keep pushing through. That's it.
What an outro there by Connor Wood. We will see you guys for episode 122. Peace.